I had just received a $300,000 buyout for my property. My daughter, Candy, hugged me, weeping with joy, and insisted we go open a joint bank account together. "Mom, the money will be safest here," she said. "I'll take care of you when you're older, and we can spend it together." I believed her. The next day, a text notification chimed on my phone. It was from the bank. "Dear valued customer, the balance of your account ending in XXXX is $520.13. The blood drained from my face. I frantically dial my daughter's number. She just chuckled on the other end of the line. "Mom, my brother-in-law, Kevin, needed money for his wedding in a hurry, so I went ahead and used it. I left you $520.13. It's like one of those cute number things. It's supposed to mean I love you forever. Isn't that romantic?" she added. "What about my retirement savings?" My teeth were chattering. "You still have your pension, don't you? That's over $600 a month. Just be a little more frugal," she said dismissively. "Oh, and by the way, don't call me anymore. I'm starting my new life." The line went dead, and then an iMessage came through. It was a screenshot of Candy's Facebook post showing off the sales contract for a house she'd bought for her brother-in-law. The caption read, "Cutting dead weight and starting my beautiful new life. Wishing my mom a lonely death." Staring at that insulting $520.13, I felt my chest tighten and I coughed up a mouthful of blood. But I didn't call the police. I didn't even cry. I just wiped the blood from my lips and dialed the number for the bank's VIP client services. "Dead weight," I whispered to myself, the metallic taste of blood filling my throat. Just yesterday, Candy had been clinging to my arm, affectionately calling me her wonderful mother. "Mom, that's $300,000. It's not safe for you to have all that by yourself," she had said. "Let's open a joint account. I'll help you keep an eye on it, and whenever you want to buy something, I'll get it for you. And after my brother-in-law, Kevin, gets married, I'll have you move in with us. We'll all be one big family, together forever." She had sounded so sincere. I've never had an easy life. My husband died young. I raised her all by myself, and only I know the struggles I went through. That buyout money was the only thing I had to look forward to. And in a single night, she had taken everything. All that was left was $520.13. I gripped my phone so tightly my nails dug into my palm, but I couldn't feel a thing. I dialed Candy's number again, refusing to give up, needing to ask one more time. "Hello, didn't I tell you not to call me?" "God, you're so annoying," she complained, her voice dripping with impatience. "Candy, the money," I started. "What money?" she cut me off harshly. "I already told you. I used it for the down payment on a house for Kevin. He's my husband's brother. If I don't help him, who will? But that was my nest egg. You took all of it. What am I supposed to do now?" I screamed, losing control. "What are you supposed to do? You have your pension, don't you? $600 a month is more than enough to live on in a small town like back home. Don't be so greedy." Her words were like a bucket of ice water dumped over my head. "I'm greedy. I gave you $20,000 for your wedding. I took care of you for a month after you gave birth. I gave you my life savings for the down payment on your first house. And now that I finally have some money of my own, this is how you treat me? Ugh, why are you dredging up the past?" Candy's tone became flippant. "You were supposed to raise me, right? And I'm supposed to take care of you when you're old, right? So I'm just collecting a little of that support in advance. What's the problem? You don't have to scream like I've done something wrong. Besides, I left you over $500. That's enough to eat on for months. See how dutiful I am." I could hear a roar of laughter in the background. It was her in-laws. A woman's voice piped up. It was her mother-in-law, Patricia. "That's right. Candy did this for the good of the Johnson family. Just think of it as your contribution. We'll be sure to remember you for it. An old woman like you with all that money is just asking to be robbed. Candy is just keeping it safe for you. You should be thanking her." I was trembling with such rage that I couldn't even speak. "Okay, whatever. I'm done talking to you." Candy's voice cut in, filled with irritation. "I have to get to Kevin's engagement party. I'm Busa. From now on, you're on your own. Don't bother us again. We're in different worlds now." Click. She hung up on me without a second thought. I sank to the cold floor. The sun was shining warmly outside my window, but I couldn't feel an ounce of its heat. My phone buzzed. It was a screenshot of the bank transfer from Candy. $299,479.87. Beneath it, a single line of text. See, Mom? It's not even the full $300,000. I was nice enough to leave you some dignity. I stared at the message, my stomach churning violently. She used my entire life's savings to buy a house for her brother-in-law, just to make herself look like a generous sister-in-law, and then had the audacity to tell me she'd done me a favor. I used the wall to pull myself to my feet and made another call. This time, I wanted to speak to her husband, my son-in-law, Ryan. Ryan was a college professor who wore glasses and always seemed so polite, constantly calling me Mom. I thought that, as an educated man, he would surely be more reasonable. The phone rang for a long time before he finally picked up. Hello. It was Ryan's voice, but sounded distant. Ryan, it's me, I said, my voice raspy. Oh, hey, Mom. Is everything okay? Candy and I are just about to leave for the hotel. He sounded perfectly calm, as if nothing was wrong. Ryan, Kenny transferred all of my money out of the account. Did you know about this? I asked, holding on to one last sliver of hope. Yeah, she mentioned it, he answered casually. That was my retirement money. How could you two do this? I shrieked into the phone. The line was silent for a moment, and then I heard Ryan let out a soft laugh. Mom, that's a bit of an exaggeration. What do you mean, you two? This was Candy's gift to her brother-in-law. It's her responsibility as his sister-in-law, he said. Besides, my brother Kevin getting married is a huge deal for the Johnson family. As family, isn't it natural for you to contribute? His words were polite, but each one was a knife in my heart. Natural for me to contribute? Why should I? Ryan, when you and Candy got married, I drained my savings to help you buy your house. Did you ever once thank me for that? Now your brother is getting married, and you think you're entitled to my retirement fund? Mom, how can you think that way? We're all family here. Ryan's tone turned sour. We are one family, which makes my brother your family, too. Candy did this for the good of our entire family. If you're upset about it, that just proves how selfish you are. You only think about yourself, not about us. The world started to go dark around me, and I nearly collapsed. I remembered working 3 jobs a day just to pay for her college tuition, working until I was physically sick. I remembered her wedding day when I smiled and handed her the bank book containing the $20,000 I'd saved for half my life. Back then, she had hugged me and cried, saying, Mom, you're the best mother in the world. I promise I'll take good care of you forever. The memory was so clear, yet the man on the phone was now calmly calling me selfish. Ryan, I need that money back, I said, enunciating every word. Get it back. Ryan laughed. Mom, the money is already in Kevin's account and is about to be paid to the seller. If you demand it back now, you'll humiliate the Johnson family in front of his fiancée's parents. You can't be serious. If you actually go through with this, forget Candy. Even I won't be able to call you my mother anymore. His words were a blatant threat. I finally understood. They were all in on it together. From the very beginning, this had been a calculated plot. I hung up the phone without another word of argument. My heart felt like a stone in my chest. My phone buzzed again. It was a notification from the family group chat. Candy had posted a photo of Kevin and his fiancée, beaming at their lavish engagement party at the Grand Majestic Hotel. She had written a caption, "Congratulations to my amazing brother-in-law on his engagement. As his sister-in-law, I'm gifting them a new home to start their life together." The Johnson family, always so united and loving. Below, it was a long list of likes and fawning comments from relatives. Candy is the best sister-in-law. The Johnsons are so lucky to have a daughter-in-law like you. Not a single person asked where the money came from. Not a single person cared whether this dead weight lived or died. I looked at the cheerful chatter in the group and felt a chill spread through my body. I slowly typed out a reply for everyone to see. Does your conscience not bother you, using my retirement money to play the generous benefactor? The moment I sent my message, the bustling group chat fell silent. A few seconds later, a voice message from Candy popped up, her tone seething with the fury of being exposed. Mom, what is that supposed to mean? Do you really have to ruin a happy occasion for everyone? What do you mean, your retirement money? The money is in my name now, so it's my money. I don't need you to tell me how to spend it, she snarled. Do you think the $500 I left you wasn't enough? How much more could you possibly want? You're such a greedy old woman. Her words grew nastier, all pretense of respect gone. Immediately after, another voice chimed in. It was her mother-in-law, Patricia. She didn't bother with a voice message. She called me directly. The second I answered, a shrill torrent of abuse assaulted my ears. "Sonny, you old hag. What do you think you're doing? Are you trying to ruin my son's engagement party?" she shrieked. "I'm telling you, if Kevin's engagement is ruined because of you, I will make you pay. Your daughter is being loyal to the Johnson family. That's because she knows what's right. And you, her mother, not only do you not support her, you're here causing trouble. What are you trying to pull? You just can't stand to see us happy, can you?" Her screaming made my ears ring, and the hand holding my phone began to shake. "Patricia, that is my money. What you're doing is robbery." I yelled back. "Robbery? Don't make me laugh." Patricia scoffed. "That money is in my daughter-in-law's account, which means it belongs to the Johnsons now. You say one more word, and I swear I'll bring people over there and tear your pathetic little house apart. You think we don't know about the buyout? You got $300,000. What's a lonely old woman like you going to do with all that money anyway? Take it with you to the grave." Her voice was shrill and vicious, dripping with greed. "I'm warning you, Sonny. You won't get a single penny of this money back. And if you dare call the police, I'll make Candy divorce Ryan. I'll make sure your granddaughter grows up without a father. Let's see if you're cruel enough to let that happen." She was using my own granddaughter to threaten me. My heart felt like it was being crushed in a vice, the pain so intense I could barely breathe. If they got a divorce, what would happen to the child? I already felt I had failed Candy by not giving her a complete family. Was I going to let my granddaughter suffer the same fate? "You're despicable." I managed to choke out. "Haha, so what if we are?" Patricia cackled, victorious. "What are you going to do about it? We're at the Grand Majestic Hotel right now, celebrating Kevin's engagement and signing the papers for the house. The agent from Prestige Properties is here and everything. Even if you got on a plane right now, you'd be too late. You just sit there and watch the Johnson family thrive while you die all alone." With that, she slammed the phone down. I slumped into a chair, feeling completely weak. So that was their plan. Sign the contract and pay on the spot. They want to make sure there was absolutely no way for me to get the money back. My phone screen lit up again with a group notification. Candy had posted a short video. In it, a real estate agent was holding a credit card machine while Kevin and his fiancée stood beside him, beaming. Candy and Ryan were bustling around, greeting their guests. Candy smiled brilliantly for the camera. "Please, everyone, make yourselves comfortable. The signing ceremony is about to start, and we'd love for you all to witness this special moment for my brother-in-law." Watching the video of my daughter's smiling, unfamiliar face, the room began to spin. Just then, my phone rang. It was an unknown local number. I answered it mechanically. "Hello, is this Miss Sunny Miller?" A polite but anxious man's voice asked. "This is the sales manager from Prestige Properties. We seem to have a small problem here. The funds in your daughter, Ms. Candy Johnson's, account appear to be frozen. We're unable to process the payment for the house." "The funds are frozen," I repeated, my heart skipping a beat. "Yes, ma'am," the sales manager said, his voice laced with anxiety. "We've tried running the card several times, but the machine keeps showing transaction failed. The error message says there's an account irregularity, a transit freeze on the funds. We called the bank, and they said they require authorization from the other account holder, which would be you. Ms. Johnson said you're her mother and that you had already approved this. But as you can imagine, with the engagement party and the signing ceremony already underway, and all their family and our company's executives here, it will be a very difficult situation if this payment doesn't go through." His words were heavy with pressure. I could just imagine the scene in that banquet hall. One moment, Candy and her family were the stars of the show, and the next, they were the clowns who couldn't pay their bills. My breathing quickened. "Ms. Miller, are you still there?" the sales manager pressed. "Would it be possible for you to come down here? Or perhaps you could authorize the transaction on your end to unfreeze the funds." I didn't answer him. My other line was already ringing off the hook. It was Candy. I declined the call, and she immediately called back. Once, twice, 3 times. I let the phone buzz and vibrate violently on the table. Finally, it fell silent. A text message appeared. "Mom, what did you do?" Are you trying to ruin us on purpose? It was followed by another. You unfreeze this money right now, or you'll be sorry. I read the text without replying. A few minutes later, the phone rang again. This time it was Ryan. I answered. Mom, what the hell do you think you're doing? Ryan's voice was no longer calm and polite. It was filled with suppressed rage. Do you have any idea how humiliating this is? Kevin's fiancée is threatening to call the whole thing off right here and now. You've made the entire Johnson family a laughingstock. I'm the one causing a disgrace? I asked coldly. And you didn't think it was disgraceful when you stole my retirement savings to buy a house? That was Candy's money, damn it. You gave it to her. Ryan swore at me. Is this some kind of game to you? You're an old woman throwing a tantrum at your own daughter, destroying everyone's happiness. Are you happy now? Let me tell you something, Sonny. You have two options. His voice became dangerously quiet. One, you unfreeze the money right now, and we can all pretend this never happened. Or two, you just wait. You wait until I get back there, and I'll show you what happens. You can forget about a peaceful retirement. I'll make your life a living hell. Listening to his venomous threats, the last shred of familial feeling I had left in my heart turned to dust. I said nothing. Did you hear me? Are you deaf? I'm giving you 30 minutes. If that money isn't cleared in 30 minutes, you'll face the consequences. Ryan yelled before slamming the phone down. The room was silent again. I sat quietly, just looking out the window. Then I picked up my phone and unlocked it. I didn't reply to Ryan or read any of the hateful messages from Candy. I opened my contacts, my fingers scrolling slowly until it stopped on a particular name. I pressed the call button. The call connected, and a calm, professional voice answered. Ms. Miller, hello. I closed my eyes for a moment, and when I opened them, all the grief and weakness had vanished. I spoke evenly into the receiver. Mr. Davis, activate the emergency protocol. Of course, Ms. Miller. Mr. Davis's voice was as professional as always. The primary asset freeze on the family trust account has been initiated. All funds in transit from the joint account, ending in XXXX, are now locked by the system. They cannot be deposited into any third-party account, nor can they be returned. To release the freeze, you and the other account holder, MS, Candy Johnson, must both be present at the bank with valid identification. I understand, I said. I hung up the phone and let out a long, slow breath. I admit when I set up that account, I had my own reservations. I had spoiled Candy her whole life. She had no real concept of money and spent it like water. I was worried that when I got older, she would either waste the entire sum or let her in-laws scheme it away from her. The bank manager, Mr. Davis, was my late husband's distant nephew and a man I could trust. He was the one who suggested I set up this special type of joint account, a family trust with the highest level of security. Sonny, this account is perfect for your situation, he had explained. For small, everyday expenses, Candy can access the funds on her own. But we can add a special clause that for any single withdrawal over $5,000, both of you must be present to sign in person. We can also add an emergency freeze code that only you know, just in case. Candy had been sitting right there, playing on her phone, completely uninterested in the boring details. She just kept telling me to hurry up and sign. She had no idea that the fine print she ignored would one day become my salvation. My phone buzzed again. It was an iMessage voice note from Candy. The background was a chaotic mess of noise. Her voice was a shrill, piercing cry. Mom, where are you? You have to come here. Kevin's fiancée just left with her entire family. The whole engagement party is ruined, she wailed. Are you insane? You'd let this happen to your own daughter over a little bit of money. I'm begging you, Mom. Just unfreeze the money. I'll do anything you say. I'll take care of you forever. I'll cook for you every single day. Her tone shifted from rage to desperate, panicked pleading. I didn't fall for her pathetic performance. If I unfroze that money now, she would turn on me in a heartbeat, and her revenge would be even worse. A moment later, Ryan was calling me again. Sonny, what is it you want? He yelled, furious. The bank says you have to be here in person. Where are you? I'm warning you. Don't push me too far. Where am I? I let out a small laugh. I'm at home, waiting for you to come and deal with me like you promised. You. Ryan was speechless. He probably never expected me to be so calm. After a few seconds of silence, he spoke again, his voice tight with rage. Fine, you've got nerve. You just wait for me at home. He hung up. I put my phone down, walked to the kitchen, and made myself a simple bowl of noodle soup with a fried egg on top. It was the meal I ate most often after my husband died. For all those years, everything I cooked was based on Candy's preferences. She loved spicy food, so even though I couldn't handle it, every meal was swimming in chili oil. She loved shellfish, and even though I was allergic, I would still buy and prepare it for her. I couldn't remember the last time I had made a meal just for myself. As I ate the hot noodles, I felt a bit of warmth finally return to my body. After I finished, I began to calmly tidy up the house. I knew it wouldn't be long before they arrived. The drive from the city to my small town in Ohio takes 4 hours at the very least. I figured they would drive through the night. And just as I expected, at 3 in the morning, a thunderous pounding began at my front door. Open the door, Sonny. I know you're in there. Open up. It was Ryan's roar, punctuated by Patricia's shrill screams. You old witch, get out here. You've ruined us. My son's wedding is off, and now we have to pay a penalty to the developer. I'm going to skin you alive. Please open the door, Mom. I was wrong. Just let me in so we can talk. Candy's cries were mixed in, sounding both desperate and completely fake. I ignored them all, put in my earplugs, and went back to sleep. The racket outside continued for a long time, eventually drawing my neighbors out of their apartments. Who's making all that noise? It's the middle of the night. Isn't that Sonny's place? I thought she went to live with her daughter. Sounds like her daughter and son-in-law. They're screaming and crying out there. I wonder what happened. I could faintly hear my neighbors murmuring. That just made Patricia get even louder. Everyone, come and look, she bellowed. Come see this cruel mother who stole $300,000 from her own daughter and ruined our family. Her daughter was going to take care of her, and she repaid her by running off with all our money. Is there no justice? She started spinning her web of lies, wailing to my neighbors. I just scoffed. Did she really think she could get away with that here, in my building, where people actually knew me? My neighbors have known me for decades. They know exactly what kind of person I am. Just as I thought, Mrs. Gable's voice cut through the noise. Now you listen here, Ryan's mother. You'd better watch what you say. We all know Sonny. She's been pinching pennies her whole life and gave every last good thing to that daughter of hers. The idea that she would steal from you is ridiculous. That's right, Mr. Peterson added. I heard it was the other way around, that you took Sonny's buyout money to buy a house for your younger son. You're all talking nonsense. Patricia shrieked, exposed. We're family. Her money is our money. Patricia scrambled for a defense. The argument outside grew louder. I was happy to let them handle it and went back to bed for a peaceful night's sleep. The next morning, I woke up feeling completely refreshed. When I opened my door, the hallway was a disaster. Candy, Ryan, and Patricia were slumped against my doorframe, looking exhausted and gaunt, with dark circles under their eyes. The moment they saw me, all 3 of them shot to their feet. Mom! Candy cried, lunging to grab my legs. I sidestepped her, and she fell flat on the floor. Sonny! Ryan snarled, his eyes bloodshot, and he started towards me. I immediately held up my phone, with 911 already dialed on the screen. Take one more step, and I'm calling the police to report you for trespassing and attempted assault. Ryan froze, glaring at me with pure hatred. Patricia threw herself onto the floor and started wailing. Oh, the injustice of it all. A wicked mother is trying to drive her own daughter to ruin. Everyone, come and see this cruelty. As she howled, she shot me a look, signaling that I should just give in and not make a bigger scene. I looked down at their pathetic display. Are you finished with your little show? If so, you can leave. Mom! Candy scrambled up from the floor and crawled to me on her knees, clutching my legs with tears and snot streaming down her face. Mom, I know I was wrong. I really do. I shouldn't have listened to my mother-in-law. I never should have taken your money, and I never, ever should have said those horrible things. Please, just forgive me this one time. The developer gave us an ultimatum. If the payment isn't made by noon today, they're going to sue us. We could go to jail. She sobbed hysterically, trying her best to sound remorseful. I looked down at her. Weren't you wishing me a lonely death? What happened? Did your wonderful new life hit a snag already? The moment the words left my mouth, Candy's crying stopped cold. She looked up, her face a mask of shock and humiliation. I heard a collective gasp from the neighbors who had gathered to watch. My goodness, what kind of daughter says that to her own mother? That's just a horrible thing to say. And after Sunny was so good to her, she raised a real snake. The neighbors' whispers reached Candy's ears, and her face flushed red, then drained of all color. Ryan's expression was just as grim. Seeing her chance slipping away, Patricia scrambled up from the floor, pointed a finger in my face, and shrieked, "You old hag, what more do you want?" Candy is on her knees begging, and you're still hung up on one little joke? Won't you be happy until you've destroyed our entire family? A joke. I held up my phone, pulled up the screenshot of her Facebook post, and enlarged it for everyone to see, cutting dead weight and starting my beautiful new life. Wishing my mom a lonely death. I read the words out loud, slowly and clearly. Patricia, you tell me, is that also a joke? You. Patricia was speechless, her face turning a deep shade of crimson. Mom, I was just angry. I wasn't thinking straight. Candy explained frantically. You know I say stupid things when I'm upset. Please don't take it seriously. I'm taking it seriously, I said, looking at her calmly. I remember every single word you said. My coldness finally pushed them over the edge. Sonny, I'm asking you one last time. Are you going to the bank or not? Ryan stepped forward, his face twisted in a snarl. I shook my head. No, Fine, you asked for this. Ryan suddenly yelled towards the stairwell. Kevin, get in here. I felt a jolt of alarm. A young man in his early 20s charged up the stairs. It was Ryan's brother, Kevin. Trailing behind him was a flashy-looking young woman who I assumed was his now ex-fiancée. Ryan, why are you still talking to her? Let's just tie her up and drag her to the bank, Kevin said, looking ready for a fight. What do you think you're doing? Is this a robbery? I demanded. So what if it is? You owe us. Patricia screamed, lunging for me. Give me your ID and your bank cards. She was aiming for my purse. I was ready for her. I dodged to the side and stuck my foot out, tripping her. With a yelp, Patricia went down hard, sprawling on the floor. Mom! Patricia! The Johnsons descended into chaos. I used the distraction to retreat back into my apartment and try to slam the door shut. Think you could get away? Ryan was too fast. He blocked the door with his body, and he was so strong I couldn't budge it. Get her and drag her out here, he yelled. Kevin and his fiancée immediately grabbed my arms, one on each side, and started dragging me out of my apartment. Let go of me. This is illegal. I struggled with all my might. Illegal? Who's going to know we broke the law after you're dead? Patricia sneered, getting back on her feet with a malicious grin. Today, you're either going to the bank, or you're going to have a little accident and fall off this balcony. My neighbors were horrified. A few started to step forward to help, but Ryan shot them a murderous glare. Anyone who gets involved, I'll kill them. They dragged me to the open-air landing, and the cold wind whipped around me. I looked at their faces, all twisted with greed and rage, and felt nothing but ice in my veins. At that critical moment, the sound of an approaching police siren cut through the air. The siren grew louder and louder, shattering the morning quiet. The Johnson family froze. Who called the cops? Ryan demanded, looking around wildly. I gave him a cold look and pulled a second phone out of my pocket. I did, I said. The moment they started dragging me, I had used my spare phone to call 911 and activate the voice recorder. Their threats, their intimidation, the entire assault, it was all recorded, crystal clear. You set me up. The color drained from Ryan's face. Several uniformed officers charged up the stairs and took in the scene. Police! Nobody move, one of them yelled. Officers, help me. I cried out. They're trying to rob me, and they threatened to throw me off the balcony. Kevin and the woman instantly let go of me, terrified. No, that's not true. Don't listen to her lies. Patricia sputtered. We're family. This is just a family matter. A family matter? The lead officer said sternly. Does being family give you the right to assault someone and threaten their life? He pointed to the red marks on my arms. And how do you explain these bruises? She fell. Patricia insisted. Is that right? I asked. I took out my spare phone and played the recording. Patricia's own vicious voice filled the hallway. Today, you're either going to the bank, or you're going to have a little accident and fall off this balcony." Her cruel words echoed in the stairwell. Patricia's face went white as a sheet. "Take them away," the officer commanded. "I'm not going to the police station." Patricia shrieked, throwing herself on the ground. Ryan and Kevin tried to resist, but they were no match for the two strong young officers who quickly subdued them. Candy was in complete shock, sitting on the floor with a deathly pale face. "Officer, she's my daughter. Is it possible?" I started, looking at Candy with a flicker of pity. "Mom, help me. I don't want to go to the station." Candy snapped out of her daze and scrambled over to me, begging. "You made your bed. Now you have to lie in it," I said, turning my face away from her. In the end, all 5 of them, the entire Johnson clan, were arrested for assault and disturbing the peace. The hallway was finally quiet. My neighbors gathered around me, offering words of comfort. "Sonny, I'm so glad you finally stood up for yourself. You can't be soft with a daughter like that. You did the right thing. They needed to be taught a lesson." I managed a small smile for them, but I felt no joy. The whole ugly affair had ended in the worst way imaginable. I went back inside, closed the door, and leaned against it as the tears I had been holding back finally began to stream down my face. The next day, I got a call from the police station asking me to come in to sort things out. I put on a clean outfit and went down to the station. I saw Candy again in one of the meeting rooms. She looked terrible, as if she had aged 10 years in a single night. "Mom," she whispered when she saw me, her lips trembling, but no other words came out. I looked at her and felt nothing at all. "Officer, I want this handled by the book," I said to the policeman. "However, considering she is my daughter, I am willing to not press criminal charges. But I have one condition." A flicker of hope appeared in Candy's eyes. "I want her to sign a document, right here in front of you, legally severing our mother-daughter relationship." "Sever our relationship?" Candy's head snapped up, her face a picture of disbelief. "Mom, what are you talking about?" I said. I repeated slowly and clearly. "From this day forward, you and I are no longer mother and daughter. Your life, your health, your death, they're no longer my concern. And when I die, you will inherit nothing from me." My words landed like hammer blows. She stared at me, dumbfounded, her lips trembling, unable to form a single word. Beside her, Ryan and Patricia started to panic. "No, absolutely not," Patricia shrieked. "If you disown her, what happens to the money? That's $300,000. Even now, all she could think about was my money. "That money has always been mine," I said, giving her a cold look. "It has absolutely nothing to do with any of you." She started. "Quiet," the officer said, rapping his knuckles on the table. "This is a police station, not your living room." He then turned to me, his voice softening. "Ms. Miller, are you sure about this? She is your daughter, after all. There's no need to take such a drastic step." I shook my head firmly. I made up my mind. "Officer, I'd just like you to witness the signing." Candy finally broke down completely. She dropped to her knees on the floor and began to sob uncontrollably. "Mom, please don't. I don't want this. I know I was wrong. I swear I know I was wrong. Please, just give me one more chance. I'll be a good daughter, I promise. I'll do anything for you." She cried as if her heart was breaking, but I knew it was far too late for any of that. I took a document out of my purse, an agreement I'd had a lawyer draw up, made out in triplicate. I placed it on the table in front of her. "Sign it." Candy stared at the words on the page. Relinquishment of parental rights, her whole body shaking as she hesitated. "Candy," Ryan hissed at her. "What are you waiting for? If you don't sign, we're all going to be held in a cell. Do you want that?" Candy looked at Ryan, then back at the paper. With a trembling hand, she picked up the pen. Stroke by stroke, she signed her name. The moment she finished, she went completely limp and collapsed back into her chair. I picked up the signed copies, checked them carefully, and put them in my purse. "Officer, I also demand compensation for the emotional distress and physical threats I endured. Nothing excessive. $5,000 should cover it. We can call it payment for my broken door." Ryan and his family were furious, but under the threat of being held in a cell, they had no choice but to agree. It took them hours of frantic phone calls to borrow the $5,000. Once everything was settled, I walked out of the police station. The sun was shining, but I couldn't feel its warmth. I didn't go home. I went straight to the bank. Mr. Davis was waiting for me in the private client office. "Ms. Miller, it's all been arranged," he said. I nodded as I watched him work at his computer. "I've already submitted the reversal for that large transfer. The fund will be returned to your primary account within 24 hours. "Good," I said. I looked at him and made one final request. "Mr. Davis, please close this joint account for me." He looked surprised for a second, but then he simply nodded. Before he closed it, I had him withdraw the remaining balance, that $520.13 in cash. I walked out of the bank holding the small, messy stack of bills and coins. Candy was waiting for me outside the bank. She was standing there all alone, looking small and pathetic. When she saw me, she started to step forward but then stopped, hesitating. I walked right up to her and, without a word, threw the $520.13 onto the sidewalk at her feet. The bills and coins scattered everywhere, the sound sharp and jarring in the quiet afternoon. "You said this was supposed to be a symbol of your undying love, didn't you?" I said. "Here, you can have it back." I didn't give her a second glance as I turned and walked away. I took the $300,000 and bought myself an RV. I didn't tell a soul, not even my kind old neighbors. One morning, before the sun was up, I quietly drove away from the small town where I'd spent my entire life. I called my lawyer and asked him to handle the sale of my house. The proceeds, along with the rest of my savings, were to be placed in a charitable trust one established to help other elderly parents who had been financially abused by their children. I also had my will updated. In the event of my death, none of my assets were to go to Candy. Then I got in my RV, pulled onto the highway, and drove with no particular destination in mind. I turned on the radio and found a station playing the songs I loved when I was young. As the scenery flew past my window, I felt like my life was finally hitting the reset button. I began my solo trip, crisscrossing the country. I drove out to Arizona and saw the Grand Canyon at sunrise. Later, standing among the giant, ancient sequoias in Yosemite, I felt a sense of peace about the past that I never thought was possible. I made a lot of new friends on the road, other people traveling in their RVs. We would camp together, have bonfires, and share stories from our travels. I got a new phone number and cut off all ties to my old life. I taught myself photography and how to edit videos. I started sharing my travels on TikTok under the username Sunny's Second Act. To my complete surprise, my videos started to go viral. I got thousands of comments from people saying they admired my courage and that I was living the life they had always dreamed of. Reading all those kind words, I felt a genuine smile spread across my face for the first time in a long, long time. It turned out that my life could be wonderful once I left that suffocating family behind. As for Candy and the Johnsons, I eventually heard bits and pieces of news about them from Mrs. Gable, who I still chatted with occasionally. Because they had breached the sales contract, the Johnson family not only lost the $20,000 deposit they had borrowed, but they were also sued by the developer, which ruined their credit. Ryan's reputation at the college was destroyed by the scandal, and any chance he had of getting tenure was gone. Kevin's engagement was, of course, completely off. His ex-fiancee's family demanded all their gift back and made such a scene that the Johnsons became the joke of the entire town. The stress of it all caused Patricia to have a major stroke that left her paralyzed. Candy's life wasn't any easier. Without my financial help, and now with a paralyzed mother-in-law to care for, her and Ryan's salaries were stretched to the breaking point. They fought about money constantly, their home a battlefield. I heard they eventually got divorced. Ryan got custody of their daughter, but he couldn't be bothered to raise a child, so he just left her with his invalid mother. Candy went back to her childhood home, only to find that I had sold it. With nowhere else to go, she ended up renting a cheap basement room, getting by on temp work. Mrs. Gable said she saw her on the street one day, and that she was so thin she was almost unrecognizable, all of her old arrogance gone. She asked Mrs. Gable if she knew where I was, but my old friend just shook her head. I listened to all of this and felt nothing. We all choose our own paths in life, and we all have to live with the consequences. I closed the chat window and went back to editing my latest travel video. The final shot was of my RV driving down a long, winding coastal highway. The setting sun glittered on the surface of the ocean. I added one final caption to the video. The best way to live is for yourself.